Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary. Well, gamemaker broke this week, so I had to improvise, which meant things got really weird. So, if you dig the weirdness, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Make sure notifications are turned on so you don't miss future videos. So a while back, we were finally able to showcase an isometric system that's taken me like literal years to get right. And in that video, I asked for what we should do next. And one of the suggestions y'all left was to mess with the Z-axis. Now, as fun as that sounds, it's a heck of a task, but one that would be best approached with baby steps. And after some thinking, an aquarium seemed to be like a good first step. And because this is Dev Diary and I am me, this wasn't going to be just any old aquarium. Instead, the plan today was to create an abridged version of my favorite Dreamcast game and still one of the most unique gaming experiences I have ever had, Seaman. Now, I could gush for little hours about why I love this game, but for now, just know that this is a life sim about taking care of fish. So, just as in Seaman, the game starts with a Nautilus in a fish tank, and that Nautilus will, over the course of its short life, occasionally spit out a random amount of eggs. The player can also spawn more Nautilus at will with a left click, and doing so will create a Nautilus at the top of our 10x10x10 tank. Now, the eggs spawned from the Nautilus will eventually hatch into tiny Seaman-like fish, and then from their child form all the way to their adult form, these little scaly buddies will simply patrol the tank space and occasionally ascend or descend the tank's height. In other words, their X, Y, and Z destinations are updated every so often. And when the Seaman reach their old age, they will eventually enter their final stage of life before disappearing from the tank completely. And that's it, the abridged version of Seaman. And as insane as it sounds, this is exactly how the original game begins. Seamen are in fact born from Nautilus, whose only existence is to spawn our fishy friends, but in the actual game there's so much more depth, like needing to keep them fed, making sure that the tank maintains a certain temperature, and even gameplay gets more involved as things progress, which I don't want to spoil, but let's just say that Fish with Faces is just the beginning of the weirdness of this wonderful game. Not to mention the absolute selling point of Seaman, you could actually talk to Seaman and have basic conversations with these fish-human hybrids. Oh yeah, and it's narrated by the late Leonard Nimoy. Yeah, Spock is in Seaman. Honestly, there's just simply no way to do this game justice in description alone. But anyway, back to the project, it doesn't seem like much, but the implementation of the Z-axis was actually really challenging. Mostly because I'm terrible at math, but the implementation of the Z-axis meant the inclusion of a bunch of new things. For example, our draw order system, or the drawing of the level in general, like including walls as opposed to just, a random platform in the void. I mean, in order to draw the quote-unquote water for our tank, required some good old primitives due to the unique shape created by the isometric layout. And despite the addition of some shaders and some other effects, I'm not exactly sure that I got it looking just right. Sometimes it just doesn't feel like the fish are, really moving in a 3D environment. It perhaps is just a personal skewed perspective, but it feels like it could use some work, Unfortunately, time really wasn't on my side this week. Like, you could honestly consider this a jam project. That's just how last minute this was. Like, literally, as I was editing and recording footage for an upcoming video, gamemaker released an update that broke the entire game, meaning I can't record any footage to complete the edit until they release a hotfix. And let me just tell you, the legacy of that project, it's almost cursed at this point. So if you enjoy these videos and would like to help me keep making them, consider supporting me on Patreon. You can get access to exclusive content and downloads and early access to the weekly Dev Diary videos before they're released on YouTube. I don't know, maybe I'll share the story of the cursed projects on there. I don't know, just so maybe we can all look back on it in the future and laugh. Hopefully. Anyway, as I was saying, this one was definitely rushed, but I would love to come back to it and add more of the features from the actual game, because like no joke, it would just be great to do it as simply a tribute to the original. But in the meantime, let me know, have you played Seaman, or have you even heard of the game before today? And you know what, in general, what's the game that you really enjoy but don't see many people talk about these days? As always, I would love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to share them in the comments. And with that said, brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.